World Economic Forum defers Davos Annual Meeting 2022 due to Omicron outbreak. Afrexim Bank gets international scale long-term rating issue of A-. Airfares may rise as new aviation handling rates begin January 1, 2022. NNPC not conducting survey and not recruiting. All prices edge higher, but investor worries on Omicron spread remains. The program is Business Express, and we're reaching you from Abuja, Nigeria's capital. I'm Leah Cutting. Baba Tunde. We begin today's program by informing you that the World Economic Forum says it has decided to defer its annual meeting 2022 in the Swiss Alpine ski resort town of Davos in the light of continued uncertainty over the Omicron outbreak. The annual meeting, which was scheduled to take place in Davos, Closter, Switzerland between January 17 and 2022, is now planned for early summer. In a statement on deferring the 2022 meeting to early summer, the WEF said participants will instead join a headline series of State of the World sessions, bringing together global leaders online to focus on shaping solutions to the world's most pressing challenges. Current pandemic conditions make it extremely difficult to deliver a global in-person meeting. Founder and executive chairman of the World Economic Forum, Professor Klaus Schwab, said the deferral of the annual meeting will not prevent progress through continued digital convening of leaders from business, government, and civil society. The World Economic Forum WEF held its last Davos summit attended by top leaders from across the world in January 2020, just before the outbreak of the coronavirus pandemic, while the 2021 meeting could not take place due to the outbreak. The African Exporting Food Bank Afrexim Bank has received an inaugural international scale long-term issuer rating of A- with a stable outlook from the Japan Credit Rating Agency JCR. The rating reflects the strong support that Afrexim Bank receives from its shareholders, its preferred creditor status, its solid earnings capacity, and the crucial role that the bank plays in supporting key African Union initiatives. JCR noted in its assessment the growing preeminence of Afrexim Bank in African trade, citing the bank's involvement in critical initiatives that underpin the African Continental Free Trade Area AfCFTA as a key indicator. In a statement issued, Afrexim Bank said this new rating also captures the bank's key strength in structured trade finance, demonstrating its ability to de-risk its lending portfolio. JCR observes that under these circumstances, the bank mitigates credit risk through measures including the use of the structured trade finance scheme to transfer payment risk to counterparties with higher creditworthiness, insurance, and collateralization. The initiative of the federal government and the Central Bank of Nigeria to revolutionize cotton production and revive textile industries in the country is recording successes. Musa Baba Ali reports.
Out of the 39,000 hectares of cotton under cultivation in 17 states this year, this plantation in Wase, Plateau State, is the biggest. It is about 7,000 hectares. The plantation is used for the flag of this year's harvest.
And thank God Almighty for the yield that He was able to give us here in Wase.
This is expected to further boost cotton farming in Nigeria under the diversification policy of the federal government.
We increased our yield per hectare.
Anebia Chimugu, the president of Cotton Farmers Association, said the initiative will revive ginaries and textile industries that have been in comatose.
Stay clear of our cotton farms, stay clear of our farmers, stay clear of our seed cotton. We want to pass it through the system. There's a linkage between the cotton farmers and the ginners with the textile with the garmenters, and the garmenters do. The first target market of the central bank is the Uniform Services of Nigeria.
Plateau State government and Emir of Wase pledged to support the farmers to achieve more success next year.
The cotton that is being produced here will be taken to Kuru, which will be processed into lint. In the processing of the lint, they also have the cotton seeds.
The integrated efforts by
economists are of the view that if cotton farming is completely revived, it would not only improve the economy, it will also provide job opportunities for millions of Nigerians.
And of course, Mr. Anebe Achimugu joins us virtually to look at the 2021 cotton harvest. He is the President, National Cotton Association of Nigeria. You're welcome to Business Express.
Thank you for having me.
How is the weather this morning?
Weather is pleasant, thank you.
Yeah, the Harmattan is dealing some real blows to virtually everyone. So
everybody, yes.
Yes, I would need to have your take on the 2021 cotton harvest.
Well, thank you very much. I think in a simple word, I would say impressive. And I say that because of several factors. The first is that we've been able to cultivate the single largest cotton farm in Nigeria and arguably in West Africa. I mean, that's an achievement because it took the collaboration not only of National Cotton Association of Nigeria, but local government, even a large parcel of land. Also, the community obviously also contributed immensely. And then we talk about what were we able to achieve, what we have recorded so far. Of course, it's not what we say seamless, but we've been able to achieve upwards of or maximum of 3.6 metric tons, and in some cases 2.2 metric tons. If you do that in a comparison, when we started under the Ancoboras program in 2019, the average was between 400 to 500 kilograms. In 2019, we were able to push it up to about 700 kilograms per hectare. Today, we are talking and recording 2.2 and upwards of 3.6. So this is quite impressive and this is quite encouraging. And we have seen that what has enabled us to be able to achieve this is the good quality planting material. That is very key. Obviously, also planting on time and within the at least the cotton planting window also assists in a great way. Okay, so the harvest that we are seeing is not only of quality but also of quantity by the grace of God.
Okay, while we assess the quality and quantity, of course, you mentioned Ancoboras program, and I would want you to speak further on the gap it has been able to breach, and then of course the loan recovery program. How is it going with your people?
Okay, first and foremost, I'll say the Ancoboras program is stimulating. Stimulating in the sense that, again, we use statistics. Before we started in 2019, Nigeria was talking about perhaps 80,000 metric tons or thereabouts of seed cotton. By the time we came in 2019 and up to 2020, we were recording over 120,000 metric tons. Now, that is a significant boost in production-wise. And when I say that, when we came in under national, you also have other cotton associations, you also have other cotton farmers that also farmed and were encouraged to farm because of the intervention of the Anchor Borers program. So all in all, I'll say that Nigeria has actually achieved above 150,000 metric tons between 2019 and 2020. In 2021, unfortunately, that figure may not get there. But like I said, it's still impressive from what we have done so far.
Why
the Anchor Borers program has addressed
get there, and I'm wondering why it wouldn't get there.
Sorry?
You said the 2021 figures won't get to 150 metric tons, so I'm wondering why.
No, I mean, we've had challenges, so to speak, in terms of, planting windows, starting on time. We've had challenges in terms of, the weather and so on and so forth. We've had challenges because we had to actually change the model of our operation. We had to adopt a new model, and that adoption of new model took us time to be able to achieve. Like I said, we are doing contiguous farmland. When we started in 2019, we were doing smallholder farmers scattered everywhere. We discovered that it was quite difficult to offer good extension services, for instance, to supervise, to monitor, and so on and so forth, was too tedious. And, this we have to be able to record systematically the impact and, the progress. So in 2020, we adopted a cluster system. Also, we had a little bit of challenge in that. Then in 2021, we decided, look, contiguous farmland will be the best, where we will identify large parcels of land, like in Wase, as your reporter has stated, over 6,000 hectares was identified and farmed. There we are able to populate farmers where necessary or work on it directly as an association. So that is part of what would have has reduced the expectation in terms of volumes. But going into 2022, and with this model, we believe that we will even surpass what we have been able to record in 2019 and 2020. Okay. Now, you have asked about loan recovery. Now, that is a challenge, I must admit. But that is also something that we need to work out methodically. And when I say that, I mean that, for instance, we need to correct the perception by farmers that this is just a government grant or it's a grant rather than a loan. And to understand that if there is no recovery, then the sustainability of the program will become difficult. So, but that said and done, although we had issues of drought, flooding and so on and so forth, late planting, what we have been able to identify also is that we have the data of every single farmer that participated under the program since 2019. And unfortunately, we will go after them. And we have put in place a good recovery mechanism. We have even engaged recovery companies. We are working closely with our PFIs, Keystone Bank and Unity Bank, to ensure that we are able to identify and go directly. And we have given our members also the opportunity that this harvest, which has just started, is an opportunity for them to address whatever gaps we have in 2019 and 2020. So it's work in progress, and we're very serious about it.
Okay, so how would the challenges you've identified now, will they be affecting the price of cotton locally and or internationally?
Well, typically, it's demand driven.
Yeah.
In other words, for instance, as we are not expecting as much cotton as we had in 2019 and 2020, you'll find that the price, as we speak, is on a high side. High side, good for the farmers, obviously, encourages the farmers. Another reason, why cotton may not achieve the levels that we achieved is the fact that actually a lot of effort has gone into food security. So you find that a lot of our farmers have also decided that, look, let them farm maize or rice, food crop. So that has also reduced our numbers in terms of cotton production. But I think that, when we put these things together, at the end of the day, the impact of the Anchor Borrowers Program in stimulating activity at the rural level, we must always address that fact or recognize that fact. That is where we really need to engage Nigerians from. And if we do that sustainably, I think Nigeria, as a country, particularly as regards to cotton, would, if not number one, will be number two in the next 5 years. We have the arable land, we have the population, and we have the interest, and we have the good climatic conditions for cotton production.
Okay, so can you just summarize these twin questions I would want you to answer and tell us? Now the cotton leaves the farm and, of course, to the ginneries, the factories, the textiles. What is the percentage of demand for them that you're meeting, and what is your target next year?
Well, that is not an easy question to answer, because for us, the production that we expect minimum is about 20,000 metric tons of seed cotton minimum. Now, if we achieve that, the current capacities of the working ginneries, of the working textile companies will not be able to absorb the entire 20,000 metric tons. So we have to look at satisfying them, obviously, in the first instance, and then being able to say, okay, let's earn foreign exchange for our country and export our cotton. So it is not, it's not a figure I can put, I can't put a finger on it particularly, but I can say that the production, particularly from even 2019, 2020, we have not been able to absorb it yet locally.
Well, that's quite a lot.
Yes.
Okay, I must sincerely thank you, Mr. Chimugu Anebe, for joining us on Business Express this morning.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Have a nice day. Yeah. A lot of non-essential service providers have learned to improvise to remain in business, no thanks to coronavirus. On today's episode in the series, we present to you the lockdown experience from the perspective of an artist. Let's hear her.
Surviving COVID-19 series is brought to you in partnership with the Central Bank of Nigeria.
My name is Adeze Obani, and I'm an artist, a fine artist. I'm self-taught. It's a talent actually, but I went to school to study it more. University of Port Harcourt here in Nigeria, and I specialized in painting and drawing, basically, but also work in do textiles and sculpture. So I got to Uniport, and they didn't have architecture by then. And the year I was going to Uniport, they didn't give architecture as a subject. So I didn't find that as a substitute subject course to study. So I took finance. It wasn't easy because when you get time for a cell like painting, it takes time. So I used to be patient. Just patience, that's the main virtue. So I was patient and still working. I didn't give up. I kept painting. So I post after painting and I get clients and I sell. And that's how I made my money during the pandemic. During the pandemic, I got short of colors. I don't know place to buy colors actually. So I had to improvise. I used green leaves for my green colors and some red pigments for my lipstick and the rest of it for my red paints. The lipsticks that are permanent, the matte lipsticks, those dry ones. My red paint because I couldn't get any paint anywhere. So that's what I used for my colors. I tried, but I didn't get any of that. But if I had gotten any of that, I would have been happier because it really would have helped a lot. They've gone a long way, but I didn't get any of that. I've been working on my own and funding myself. I learned that you don't just stay one place because things are not working out for you. You try to work and get yourself doing something interesting and productive. Because if you stay one place, you feel useless per se, like you feel like you don't have anything doing. So it's better you just put your time in something productive and something that will make you feel like you're human and you're working.
Bulletin series is brought to you in partnership with the Central Bank of Nigeria.
Can you believe that we pay money to buy lipsticks and they're being turned into paint? Anyways, the purchasing and supply experts in Nigeria have resolved to promote policies and programs that enhance local content development as solution to the global supply disruptions being experienced as a result of COVID-19. They are of the view that the implementation of Executive Order 5 of the present administration will improve the value of the Naira towards achieving economic stability.
Like in procurement, you have an alternative product that you can use that is a supplement or a representation of what you normally import. So like the government did say, produce what you know you eat and eat what you produce. And the moment you are doing that, you are giving room for the MSME.
80% of total budget goes into that sector.
Every purchasing, every procurement should follow the due process. And the due process is established and is there in the Public Procurement Act.
How is the commodities market faring this Tuesday? Let's find out. Oil prices edged higher on Tuesday, though investors remained worried about the rapid spread of the Omicron coronavirus variant globally, prompting countries to consider more restrictions, potentially denting fuel demand. Brent crude futures edged higher by 9 cents to $71.61 a barrel, while U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude futures also gained 23 cents to $68.84. And of course, students of tertiary institutions across the country may soon have information and communications technology ICT academies in their respective schools, where they will obtain digital literacy and other technological skills. This is the outcome of a collaboration between the Ministry of Communications and Digital Economy, Sally Pentami, and a technology company designed to develop local content through various training programs.
Part of the MOU, a minimum of 30,000 students are going to be trained on skills, and also we are going to establish around 300 centers in our universities, polytechnics and colleges of education, where our students will be able to get the skills required to face of the challenges of our labor market, particularly internationally, not only in Nigeria.
Actually made us at least we could be able to stand our feet and provide enterprise network solutions to companies and even self-employ ourselves.
And from there, we move straight to the stock market, where Nigerian stocks resumed the week upbeat, adding 0.1% in the first trading day, with investor sentiment positive in early Tuesday's session. Away from home, Japan's Nikkei 225 jumps 2% as investors assess Omicron risk. Bossade Abel reports.
As investors around the globe continue to monitor the situation surrounding the Omicron COVID variant, shares in Asia rose in Tuesday trade. Japanese stocks led gains regionally, with the Nikkei 225 in Japan rising 2.08%. Mainland Chinese stocks rose, with the Shanghai Composite up about 0.8%, as the Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index gained 1%. U.S. stock futures climbed in early morning trading Tuesday, following a broad Monday sell-off amid fears about the fast-spreading COVID Omicron variant. Futures on the Dow Jones Industrial Average gained 250 points. S&P 500 and Nasdaq 100 futures also added. European markets closed sharply lower on Monday as the rapid spread of the Omicron COVID-19 variant triggers stricter containment measure, but figures are yet to come in this morning. Figures in Africa are also yet to come in on Tuesday morning as trading has just started on the continent. However, a positive sentiment was recorded across board on Monday despite the fear of the Omicron variants. Boss said the able Business Express.
And we keep our fingers crossed to see if this optimism is going to continue in the markets as we count down to Christmas. We end this edition of Business Express here, and we value your feedback, so keep your comments, observations, and suggestions coming. Be informed that all previous episodes are available on YouTube on the NTS channel. Business Express returns Wednesday at 3 p.m. I am Leah Katun. Baba Tunde. Stay safe.